Hello, Lee. I took the liberty of modeling up, based on this PDF that you gave me, everything that's on the wheel former. And so I've also done some analysis on the load ratings of this thrust bearing, as well as these two tapered rollers. So let's take a look. Um, what you I didn't model up exactly what you currently have in terms of the bearings, but this is the what you currently have in terms of the roller, and it's what you currently have in terms of the pin. So if I take that away and the bearing away and that away, I did model the pin exactly like it is, um, and then I added an adapter to get you out to a much larger bearing. And um, let's take a look at how that fits inside of what you currently have. I think there's still plenty of meat there to put one giant tapered roller inside of the wheel former and leave the smaller one at this end. And then, like I said, this green portion would be an adapter that I would make that fits over the shaft and gets you back down to a size that works with the shafts you already have. So let's dig into the data. The current bearing that you have has a dynamic radial rating of 3,500 pounds, 3,490, and a dynamic thrust rating of 2,000 pound-feet. If we bump up to this much bigger bearing, then you get a dynamic radial rating of 9,390 and a dynamic thrust of 6,730. So nearly 3 times as much of a load for the radial. And the dynamic thrust rating is what I want to talk about next. So anytime that you've got a situation, and I'm not telling you anything I know, but you've got two bearings in series that are trying to handle thrust, then it's sort of the weakest link theory. So it could have been thrust that is causing this. It could have been the thrust load that's causing this bearing to fail, because this bearing is not going to attempt to. It has no way to help out. Um, so what I would suggest is, if we think that losing the thrust rating from this 18,000 pound feet, this is the current thrust bearing that you have. It's rated at 18,000 pound feet. If we think that that's going to be a problem, which, like I said, it really shouldn't. I think you were only ever getting 2,000 pounds of thrust because those two bearings were in series. It wasn't as if you told me that the pancake thrust bearing was failing. So I wouldn't start with this, but it's an option. These bearings come in a size range that is large enough where we could sneak it in outside of the new tapered roller bearing, and so they would be in parallel, and then that would help share the load. You can see there's still an inch or so out here on the outside that we could put another pocket and add a thrust bearing, and there's still enough machine surface here to help support that. So it's certainly an option if we feel like we need a little extra thrust rating. I would go with a thin thrust bearing. Let me know if it's something you're interested in. Larry told me that the micropoly didn't extend the life of the bearing, and so I wanted to go back to the drawing board. We had talked about this, a year ago when we were looking at this, and maybe now it's time. So let me know if you want me to sell you the models, or hopefully make these parts, and I'll go from there. Thank you.